Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Mary Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up in this week's top stories, Philippines Tzu Chi volunteers tend to fire survivors in Malabon and Markina City. TIMA doctors in Taiwan provide healthcare services to residents in New Taipei City and Jiayi County. China's Tzu Chi volunteers from 3 different provinces attend a volunteer training seminar in Wuhan to enrich their spiritual life. We start today's show in the Philippines. 2 fires recently occurred in Malabon and Markina cities, displacing several families and left 7 people dead. Upon receiving the news, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived with relief items. And thanks to Tzu Chi's timely assistance, these residents have regained the courage to face the difficult days ahead.
In early March, a fire broke out at a community in the Philippines' Marikina City, consuming everything in its path.
I was extremely sad when I saw the house was on fire. I couldn't sleep at night because of what happened to my home.
Upon receiving the news, Tzu Chi volunteers quickly arrived to hand out relief items. Prior to distribution, volunteers seized the opportunity to introduce the NGO's philosophy to the survivors.
Buddhism na lang kayo, wag na kayo mag...
I'm devastated by the fire. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers came to help us. I'm feeling much better now. I will continue to support the NGO and help those in need of assistance.
With Tzu Chi's relief items in hand, residents break into smiles, having regained the courage to face the days ahead.
I'm truly touched by volunteers' gestures. Thank you for providing us with these relief items. I hope the volunteers can continue their good work and help those in greater need.
Meanwhile, in Barangay Tinahero, Malabon, a blaze left 7 people dead and 137 families without roofs over their heads. Among those that lost their lives, most of them were children. This is Leonida Daliri, who lost 3 children in the tragic event.
I want to go back to help them, but I couldn't. My children are no longer with me, and I really want them back.
Knowing that love can heal all wounds, after a quick assessment at the scene of the fire and understands residents' needs, Tzu Chi volunteers quickly returned with aid supplies. Prior to the distribution, fire survivors listened closely as Tzu Chi volunteers explained the NGO's philosophy, and everyone prays together for peace and harmony. Upon remembering her family members that lost their lives in the fire, Avelina Cruz can no longer hold back her tears.
I have been living here for 6 years, and this is my first time to experience such a disaster. Everyone is very sad right now because we lost everything. Thankfully, people are here to help us through this difficult time.
Thanks to Tzu Chi's timely assistance, these fire survivors have the means to get through this difficult time. And in the days and weeks ahead, Tzu Chi volunteers will continue to accompany these residents on the road to recovery.
Taking a hot shower after work is a given for many people, yet it is a luxury that some cannot afford. In Taiwan's Keelung lives Tzu Chi care recipient Mr. Xiong, who lacked access to hot water and could only shower in the public washrooms every few days. Upon learning of his plight, Tzu Chi volunteers helped move the man to a new place with access to hot water so that he will be able to take a bath every day.
Here in Keelung, where it rains frequently, one Tzu Chi care recipient is yet troubled by limited access to water.
3到5天洗一次哦。那冬天呢？ 冬天就没有洗了。
It's hard to imagine that this public toilet is where Mr. Xiong takes his showers.
所以我都用
晚上
深夜下去了。
哦，
比较没有人。
哦，比较没有的时候，这里有楼梯要小心哦。
Inside the care recipient's house, one only finds a small bed and blanket that hasn't been washed for a long time. Mr. Xiong has not only lived in solitude for many years, but also suffers from diabetes and cannot afford to pay his bills.
The place he was staying at had a lot of stairs, and when it rained, they became slippery. He often experiences a loss of muscle control in his legs, which means he trips over easily, so we wanted to move him to a better environment.
With it raining outside, Tzu Chi volunteers put on their raincoats to ensure their task of relocating Mr. Xiong is not hindered by the weather. Leaving his old home of many years, the care recipient feels somewhat uncertain and nervous.
Before moving houses, we checked out the new home for him and looked at the surrounding environment. It's an ensuite with a bathroom, which will be big enough for one person.
先吃个几口好不好？哈，嘿，这样子才不会太饿了哈。来。
Surrounded by the love and care of Tzu Chi volunteers, Mr. Xiong slowly lets down his guard. And the presence and encouragement of another care recipient, Mr. Xu, who is deaf-mute, moves him in tears.
During our time spent with the care recipient, Mr. Xiong, we found that he is quite negative and wanted to end his life. So we asked another recipient, Mr. Xu, to come visit him too.
Having access to hot water is like a dream come true for Mr. Xiong, who says he will always remember Tzu Chi's help and remain strong in the days ahead.
In Taiwan's new Taipei city, to safeguard the health of those living in the fishing village of Gongliao, TIMA doctors have been holding bi-monthly free clinics. Thanks to these events, local residents now don't have to travel far to seek treatment. But first, let's go to Jiayi County, where TIMA doctors held a dental clinic for residents of the Genesis Social Welfare Foundation's Jiayi branch. Here's more.
Checking patients' oral hygiene with extra attentiveness. Today, TIMA doctors are holding a dental-free clinic at the Genesis Social Welfare Foundation's Jiayi branch. As most of the residents living at the branch are in a vegetative state, TIMA doctors need to conduct their dental treatments at the patient's bedside. Despite feeling soreness in his back after hours of venting, TIMA doctor Chen Pisho says their experience has helped him realize his own blessings.
These patients are living bodhisattvas. They told us the importance of cherishing life and everything we have. It is great to have the chance to use my expertise to cure their dental problems, and I'm very happy to do so.
Also helping out at the dental-free clinic with a grateful heart is TIMA Dr. Zhen Pei-yo, who puts aside his personal life to join the free clinics.
Many are here because their family members could not afford to take care of them. That's why it is important for all of us to contribute our share and help them.
Through participating in this free clinic, TIMA doctors have rediscovered their passion for medicine and say they will continue to safeguard these patients' oral health in the years to come. Meanwhile, in New Taipei City's Gongliao district, every 2 months, TIMA doctors will visit the community to safeguard the health of some 13,000 residents.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Itaba. We are volunteers from Tzu Chi Foundation. We will be holding a free clinic here today. Please come see us if needed.
With the free clinic held every 2 months, local residents don't have to travel to Keelung or Taipei City to seek medical treatment.
We need to find the root of their illness. We also need to care for them and see if their everyday routines are connected to their sickness.
For those unable to attend the free clinic, doctors make it a point to bring their services to them. To make sure these senior residents take their medication properly, pharmacists seize the chance to do a thorough checkup.
We need to make sure they are taking their medication properly. This is our duty.
With TIMA doctors looking after their body and mind, many patients are now on the road to a speedy recovery.
One of the first Tzu Chi seeds in Zhanghua, Tzu Chi volunteer Qiu Lanfang, passed away on March 19th. She was 76. Over half Qiu's life was devoted to Tzu Chi, and she was an instrumental figure in helping gather funds for the building of the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital. Qiu Lanfang also helped establish the Tzu Chi Zhanghua chapter and was an Ida mother to countless students. Although she will be missed, for the many that knew her, Qiu Lanfang's commitment to Tzu Chi will continue to live on in their hearts.
I'm so thankful to Sister Qiu, as she was the reason that I joined Tzu Chi.
One of the first Tzu Chi seeds in Zhanghua, Tzu Chi volunteer Qiu Lanfang spent over half her life working on behalf of Tzu Chi.
She would pull a vegetable basket behind her. It was not filled with vegetables, but Jingsi aphorisms, our Tzu Chi newspaper, and other books written by the master. Wherever she went, she was always trying to spread Tzu Chi's ideals to more people.
People say that we seldom live to 70, but for us in Tzu Chi, 70 is just the beginning.
With her youthful spirit, Qiu never stopped learning, whether it be new responsibilities or coming to terms with new technology. Qiu's life with Tzu Chi started 30 years ago, following an encounter with Master Zhen Yan, who was gathering funds for the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital at the time.
At that time, her main goal was to get the hospital built, the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital, as well as the nursing college. Usually she was very reserved, but when she started talking about Tzu Chi, she just came alive.
Not only a committed hospital volunteer, Qiu Lanfang was also a Ida mother and one of the founding figures of the Tzu Chi Zhanghua chapter. Her moving story was later portrayed in a Daai drama. Although her life is now at an end, her spirit continues to live on in all the bodhisattvas she has touched.
Being a volunteer, when you are out there, you will influence so many for the better.
Tzu Chi volunteer Yang Mu成is currently the owner of a successful interior design firm in Taichung. Concentrating on work, Yang, however, neglected other matters in life, such as helping out at home. After becoming a Tzu Chi volunteer, Yang has changed for the better and now strives to bring Tzu Chi's ideals into both his home and workplace.
Regardless of how busy they are, Tzu Chi volunteers Yang Mucheng and his wife will always take time out of their busy schedules to cultivate blessings at their local Jingsi home. Despite being a successful entrepreneur, Yang remains humble.
I've cleaned the bathroom and toilet. I don't do this at home, but doing it here makes me so happy, and I go home very content.
Before, he would never lift a hand with household chores. He would come home expecting everything to be prepared for him. However, after joining Tzu Chi, he has changed a lot, and now he does everything: recycling, cultivating blessings, chanting sutras at memorial services.
Now a devoted volunteer, Yang Mucheng is seen at every Tzu Chi event. And each event inscribes the volunteer spirit deeper into Yang's heart.
Everyone works hard, but even though my employees are getting paid, they still don't work as hard as the Tzu Chi volunteers. So I believe that our company has a lot to learn from Tzu Chi.
Therefore, Yang Mucheng decided to introduce the Master's Dharma into his interior design firm, which he founded 30 years ago.
主张用新的用过会反面再使用，这样也会节省一些资源的。而且要
Constantly encouraging his employees to embrace recycling, Yang even takes time to introduce recycling to his carpenters. Periodically, a truck brings back garbage and recyclables from work sites.
工地拿回来的就全部就把它丢在这里，可以回收我们就捡起来。
Other companies really don't have this recycling concept. Our boss, however, always talks about how to recycle and sell the recyclables.
Doing recyclings, spreading Tzu Chi, and gathering bodhisattvas, these are now Yang Mucheng's goals in life.
I want to take the Master's Dharma and pass it on to my employees. This way it can be spread from one person to another and reach as many people in the shortest time possible.
In China, at a training seminar held in Wuhan of Hubei province, Tzu Chi volunteers were joined by their counterparts from Jiayi and Henan. Some took long train rides while others traveled for more than 900 kilometers by car, all in hopes of gaining a better understanding of the Buddhist NGO. Despite having to travel hundreds of kilometers, volunteers from Nanchang of Jiangxi and Zhenzhou of Henan are here in Wuhan to attend a volunteer training seminar. Among the volunteers, Li Feng, who is visually impaired, was once an orphan living at Wuhan's Child Welfare Center. Today, the girl has made her way into college and found a partner to spend her life with. Li has also decided to walk the Tzu Chi path. Volunteers gain inspiration and wisdom through sharing their stories and experiences with one another.
My husband studies really hard. He wakes up every morning to watch the Master's Wisdom at Dawn program. Let me make a vow too.
There is a story behind every volunteer, and whether it brings them joy or tears, volunteers all remain determined to make a difference to the world they live in. Students from the Old Balara Elementary School in Quezon City of the Philippines are mostly from poor families and lack the money to purchase dictionaries. For the past 3 years, Tzu Chi volunteers have raised funds to buy and then donate dictionaries to the youngsters. Prior to the school's graduation ceremony this year, Tzu Chi volunteers once again handed out 400 new dictionaries to the school's 6th graders.
Sounds of joy and laughter filled the Old Balara Elementary School in Quezon City on this day, as 6th graders are about to graduate.
Even the naughty students in my class came to thank me and told me I love you. I am truly delighted.
Like all other students, Marinella Vergara happily holds her teacher's hand as she walks to the stage. However, the girl breaks down in tears of joy and gratitude when speaking of her teacher.
She's the best and most trusting teacher I have ever met, so that's why I burst in tears. I will never forget her because of all the things she has done for me.
Every little action from the students are tokens of appreciation to their teachers. At the ceremony held for these graduates, besides encouraging students to express their love and thanks, Tzu Chi volunteers also presented the youngsters with over 400 dictionaries as a graduation gift.
Thank you for unending love and kindness for my best and especially for me.
Salamat po sa Tzu Chi dahil po sa dictionary.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for giving me and my fellow classmates dictionaries to help us learn.
The students studying in public schools are mainly from poor families, so they can't afford dictionaries, which cost 40 to 50 pesos. If there is a word they don't understand, they won't be able to find its meaning. When we first learned of this situation, we canvassed for donations from our volunteers to buy these dictionaries.
The sounds of laughter and song, as well as Tzu Chi's love and warmth, will become fond memories that these students will cherish for a lifetime.
In Malaysia, teachers of the Penang Tzu Chi Kindergarten organized an activity to show students how to help conserve water. Meanwhile, in the United States, students of the Walnut and Monrovia Tzu Chi Great Love Preschool visited the Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters in San Dimas, California. Let's take a look.
Showing their energy and vigor are students of the Tzu Chi Great Love Preschools in Monrovia and Walnut, California.
The Buddha is in front of you. You coming home, you watch out, you pay a visit to your home.
Over 30 students from 2 Tzu Chi Great Love Preschools are here today at the Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters to learn more about the history of the Tzu Chi Foundation. Later, the students visit a replica of Master Cheng Yan's early retreat, which is followed by an introduction of the Master's wisdom by Tzu Chi volunteers.
施工上人 always walk out the cabin from that door only, because that reminds her to do this. So she would bow to everybody to say thank you, to be humble.
They'll be friends. Yes? Okay, so you'll just so wonderful coming here today and learning more about the Tzu Chi Foundation and learning more about what the organization does worldwide. And I think it's really good for the students to understand that too.
Thank you for bringing me here.
Following the visit, both parents and children have gained a better understanding of the NGO. Here at the Penang Tzu Chi Kindergarten in Malaysia, teachers lead students in an activity to teach youngsters how to use water wisely. The students later separate into teams and are asked to work together to make good use of the water they collected.
If you need to wash your hands or flush the toilet, you use the water here. Remind one another to only use your team's water.
Without access to tap water, the children learn to brush their teeth and wash their hands with the minimum amount of water.
I will just use a little water. If we use too much, we will use up the water too fast. No, we just collected a moderate amount.
At the end of the day, everyone vowed to do their best to save the Earth's resources in the future.
At the end of the show, we head to Kaohsiung, Taiwan, where a 90-year-old senior, Tsai Ming-tong, found joy in sorting recyclables at the Tzu Chi Fengshan recycling station. Tsai says practicing recycling is not only good for his health, but also our Mother Earth. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. See you next week.